Hey everybody, and welcome back to another book review. I just finished a book that a lot of people have recommended for years, and that was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And as we know, I think I've said this in other reviews and also just reading more of Madeline Miller's things. I'm a big Greek fan, love Greek mythology, and so always excited to kind of hear another retelling of a story that we really like. So this story, for those of you that don't know, is about Achilles and his companion, best friend, Patroclus, which I got so annoyed. So I audiobooked part of this, and the guy in the book, like I always grew up saying Patroclus, and the guy in the book was always saying Patroclus, and I was like, "What is it?" I was like, I need to know how it's actually said, but I'm gonna say Patroclus and not Patroclus because like it sounds so pretentious. In Greek mythology, they were just really kind of more best friends slash like Patroclus was like kind of like a page to him, like a squire almost. But they were just really close. And then like Achilles, at the Battle of Troy, Achilles and he switch places, and Patroclus gets killed, and then Achilles like goes on crazy rampage, and then himself gets killed. So that's like the overarching, like what most Greek mythology says. And so this just kind of puts a little spin on it. It's not just that they were best friends, but they were like actually lovers, and that they had like a really intense relationship, which I kind of like. It made sense. It 100% made sense. I know that in Greek and Roman history, it was not uncommon. And they even say this in the book, but it actually was not uncommon to have more homosexual relationships, especially as you were like young teen into early adulthood until you got married. And so it just didn't read weird to me. I think for me, what read weird in their relationship is that it was almost like it was trying too hard to like make it palatable. I don't think I've ever said this before, but like I know that like that's kind of like a weird thing in society of like, oh, like homosexual relations and LGBTQ and all that stuff. It's just weird and we don't want to see it and blah blah blah. A lot of people say that. I don't have a problem with it. When it's natural. I think there's a movie, and I'm blanking on the movie name right now. I just know it has Kristen Stewart in it that came out a couple Christmases ago. I rewatched that movie so many times because the relationship was just so natural. I feel like sometimes when people are trying to bring about something that a lot of people struggle with, especially in film or even in literature, they try to push it too hard and it just then reads as fake. And I kind of felt that a little bit with the way that this relationship was written. There were parts of it that just didn't seem natural. So there was that. And then I also really mad at the end of the book. So like everybody knows Achilles dies because of his Achilles heel. If you don't know that, the story behind that is that his mother, what was her name? Thetis? His mother she wanted to protect him because it was prophesied that he would be like the greatest hero amongst all the Greeks. But in order to do that, like he has to stay alive, and she was told like he's going to die. And so she wanted to protect him. And so she was told, okay, you can do that by dipping him into the river. And she decided to hold him by his ankle instead of like his hair or something. I don't know. Like that's part of the story that just like always has bothered me. I'm like, why his ankle? Like, I mean, I understand he was a baby when this happened, but like, why not his hair? Like there were options here. But yeah, so she held him by his ankle and dunked him in, and so everything on his body was basically immune to death except for his ankle. And so anyway, in this story, in the Song of Achilles, when he goes and he actually fights in Troy after Patroclus dies, he gets killed by an arrow, which is from the story, but instead of the arrow going into his foot, the arrow goes into his heart, and that's how he died. And I was like, no, like that is not canon. Which, like, I always applaud authors who take things and push beyond what is typically accepted. But like, if he was just shot in the heart, he'd still be alive because he can't die unless you hit him in the ankle, which is not at all mentioned in the book. Not once is that mentioned. This is like Achilles, but Achilles cannot die, period, unless you stab him in the heart. That's kind of what this boiled down to. And so I just wasn't a fan of that part. Like I said, I love pushing and changing mythology and Greek stories, or stories that have been around for centuries, hundreds of thousands of years. I love pushing the envelope and changing it up a little bit so that like it's interesting and it's a new spin, but there's only so many new spins that we can do. So yeah, so there was that. And then I think overall, I just really felt like the story just kind of was like a bit long in spots, and the story is told from Patroclus' like angle. Everything is told from his angle, which is weird after he dies because he's like telling it as a ghost. And so like it was just kind of weird. But there were parts where I was just like, yes, that is, suitable for the story and it makes sense for us to know these things. But like, you didn't have to name all the kings that swore the oath to protect Helen. You didn't have to name every single wife. Like it was just like at this point we're just like constantly name dropping in it, and it's starting to turn into Game of Thrones. Like it's just there's so many names. We're gonna start losing track. And there were two moments where I just kind of like zoned out because I was like, bro, who is this now? Like, how do we get here? And then the other thing is like she puts in a lot of those like Greek words or Greek phrases that might have been used to describe Achilles or some of the other people. So like Aristosakayan, which means like king of the Greeks or something like that. But it just there's no need for extra, and I think this is one of those times where the story I think could have been a little bit shorter if we like cut sections out or just didn't really mention it, or like it just wasn't necessary. Yeah, like there were just some things I was just like, okay, why are we talking about this for 3 chapters? So because of all of that, I do give it a 4. Like it's a great story, and I like again, if it's Greek, I'm probably gonna give it a higher rating. Let's be real, just because I love that stuff. But I don't know, like it just fell short for me. However, I definitely could like see this becoming a movie or a TV series or something. And weirdly, like as I was reading it, I don't know why, but Jonathan Groff as like Patroclus, like just really was like hitting it for me. Like that's all I was picturing was Jonathan Groff, which I think he would do a great job. There's no singing involved though. He would actually just be acting. But like I don't know, it just like really read as something that like he could do. I have no idea who would be Achilles. Achilles is always just a hard one. And my and my millennial self has been scarred by the movie Troy. So like most of the time when you say Achilles, I immediately picture Brad Pitt, and not for a good reason. It's just, that's like what's seared in my brain. But I'm like, maybe if we could find somebody else, like certain people, I was like, hello, like Paris is Orlando Bloom. Yeah, like it's just some things are just gonna stick, and not for good reasons. Like I've only seen the movie Troy one time, and it was one time too much for me. But yeah, there like I think it could be a good TV show or movie, something like that. I probably would not go see it again. I'm not a big blood, guts, and gore person, and the one time I had to watch Troy was at school, and I hated every bit of it. Again, because I'm not a big blood, guts, and gore person. But yeah, so overall, interesting book. Really liked it. Just I don't know, just fell a little short for me. That's all. So thank you again for watching this book review. As always, please continue to suggest books. We are now into the throes of Black History Month, February. Woo! So I will have a couple this month that are from Black authors. Just to really highlight and showcase our amazingness, and I look forward to reading those books and sharing those with you as we go through the year. I'm really gonna try and focus on hitting books for each of the months as represented. So Black History Month, Black authors, Women's History Month. I read a ton of women's authors, so that's going to be very easy. But I'm super excited for Asian American History Month. I've got a couple good books lined up for that one, so excited for that. And yeah, just again, thank you all for book recommendations, and thank you all for watching. Like, comment as you see fit, and I will see you in the next book review. Bye.